any idea where we are?
Oh, yes, don't worry. Frenchburg is over there.
No, you're coming the full circle. It is over there.
Forgive me, Sasha. If we go across the fields in this direction...
We should be even further from the palace than we are now.
My dear Sasha, this is my home.
Look, you are wrong. My sense of direction tells me it is over there.
Damn your sense of direction. I say over there.
No, there. Well, one thing's clear at any rate, we're lost. Let's ask him. Could you tell us in which direction Fredensborg lies?
Well, that depends
What do you mean?
on whether you be walking or driving. Across the fields, that way, you could walk it in half an hour. But if, like me, you take the road, then it's that way.
There you see, you're both right.
Can I give you gentlemen a lift?
Thank you. That's very kind. I think we accept.
You gentlemen visiting Denmark, are you?
Yes, we are.
I am Alexander, Tsar of Russia. This gentleman is the Prince of Wales.
I see. And you, sir, who might you be?
I might be, and I am, King George of the Hellenes.
Ah, yes. You know who I am, gentlemen?
Know who I am?
Napoleon Bonaparte.
Whoa! Get up!
I still do not understand why he did not believe us. Does he think that kings and princes have two heads or so?
It would have been all right if Bertie hadn't insisted on calling him emperor all the way home.
And I'm so frightened, Alex. All the time now. Well, since his father's assassination, it has got worse. We are prisoners in our own home. There are security men everywhere.
My poor darling.
Well, you must have noticed it when you came to St. Petersburg for the funeral.
Yes?
Oh, that is why I insist on our coming to Denmark every summer, just to get away. Oh, shush, they're coming. Don't let him know I've been talking about it. It upsets him. Hello, darling. Did you have a good walk?
Yes, very good.
We got lost. Had to beg a lift home in a farm cart.
A farm cart?
Yes, when we told the farmer who we were, he wouldn't believe us.
I'm not surprised. Three such untidy-looking gentlemen. Go and get changed.
Yes, in a minute, my darling. Oh, you know, you walk too fast, Sasha. I had a devil of a job trying to keep up with you.
Oh, it's his long legs.
I'm sorry, my old fellow. It's just that, well, I do not get out very much at home, so, well, when I am here, it is good to feel free.
Yes, you know, I don't understand why, now that you have the power, you don't change all that. Tell the security people to go to hell.
No, we cannot do that. It is, necessary.
You don't understand, Bertie. We are in constant danger.
Yes, I know, but don't you see that the rigid security, the constant presence of the police, they take you further from your people and in the end increase the danger of the very thing that you fear. Now, a king should be seen by his subjects. If he's not seen, he becomes remote to them, unreal. Sasha, don't you feel that there could be greater safety for you in the love of your people than in the strength of your police force? I'm sorry. I realize it's none of my business.
Oh, no, you're probably right. It's just that any relaxation would be taken as a sign of weakness.
We cannot go back. My father was called Liberator. He tried to help even the poorest of our people. They killed him.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry.
You see, my friend, it is all very well for you in England. You do not have our problems.
No, I quite see that.
Well, I must go and change. Please, excuse me.
Sorry, Minnie.
Oh, don't worry. It's not your fault. He'll be all right.
Poor old Minnie.
They are happy together, that's the main thing.
Yes. But I can't help feeling that things are going to get worse and worse for them at home.
Sasha has learnt the lesson of his father's assassination. You heard what he said.
But it's the wrong lesson. I'm convinced of it.
It's not only that. He's frightened of Germany, Bismarck, the talk of expansion. That's why he's determined to be strong at home.
Yes, I suppose that's it.
You have the sea to protect you in England. Well, I'd better go and change, I suppose. Excuse me.
Don't be depressed, my darling.
No, I'm not depressed. Quite the reverse, in fact. Bismarck can't last forever, and when the old Kaiser dies, Vicky and Fritz will be able to lead Germany away from Prussian militarism. It can't be long now.
No, dear.
You know, we really ought to call on them. Perhaps on the way home.
No, Bertie. If you want to go to Berlin, you will have to go alone. I shall not come with you.
Oh, but darling, Vicky would be terribly hurt.
I can't help that. After what they did to my country, I could never go there, never. My mind is quite made up, Bertie. I will not go to Germany.
Darling Alex, you look particularly lovely when you get excited.
But it is just like home, Vicky. Everything is so English. I hardly feel I'm in Germany.
I'm glad you like it.
I do.
Alex, my dear, thank you for coming. I know you have little cause to love this country.
Hush, don't let's talk about that now. I'm here. And in any case, it was not your fault, nor Fritz's.
No. We have little influence now, I'm afraid. They do not trust him, you see, because of me. I'm supposed to have made him English in his outlook.
But that is nonsense.
It's all Bismarck's doing, of course.
Oh, that dreadful man. He's at the bottom of everything that is evil. When Fritz becomes emperor, you must get rid of him.
Oh, Alex, if only you knew. He is even trying to turn Willie against me. My own son.
But you can't claim all the credit, Fritz. I think I must have had something to do with it.
Ah, but we found him, my dear fellow. You can't deny that.
He says that you and he were entirely responsible for our marriage.
Oh, Fritz, darling, not entirely.
Well, almost.
Nonsense. I recall you and Vicky sending photographs of a certain Elizabeth of VII. Quite another lady.
I knew nothing about that.
That was before, Bertie.
Elizabeth of VII?
Yes, she's now Queen of Romania, I believe, isn't she?
Anyway, who arranged for you to meet quite by accident at the cathedral at Speyer?
You did. And whatever Bertie may say, I'm very grateful to you both.
Well, I suppose you may have had a little, just a little mind to do with it.
Well, let's sit down. And now tell me, how is Mama? Is her rheumatism any better?
Oh, yes, she's pretty well, really.
I think Disraeli's death upset her. She was so devoted to him.
Yes, will she ever be reconciled to Mr. Gladstone, do you think?
Oh, I doubt it. It's a pity, really. He's a good man. I like him more each time we meet.
I think she was rather surprised at having to send for him again after he had retired so very finally the last time.
Poor Mama. Changing prime ministers always upset her. I remember when I was a child, the trouble when she finally had to send for Lord Palmerston. Oh, Willie, darling. Where on earth have you been?
Out. Uncle Bertie, I'm delighted to see you.
Hello, Willie.
And how is my beautiful Aunt Alex? This is a great pleasure.
Well, my goodness, you have grown handsome.
Billy, your mother asked you a question.
Did she? I'm so sorry, Mother. What did you want to know?
Oh, it doesn't matter, darling. Nothing. Come and sit down.
Well, have I interrupted something? A family conference? Please go on.
No, darling, no, it wasn't anything very important. We were just talking about Mr. Gladstone.
Indeed. Well, he's certainly done an about-face, hasn't he? Quite the man of the moment.
The man of the moment.
Yes. To tell you the truth, Uncle Bertie, I'm a bit surprised to find you still here when such momentous events are taking place in your country.
What you talking about, Willie? What events?
What's happened?
Oh, haven't you heard? Your Mr. Gladstone has embarked on a holy war. The British fleet has bombarded Alexandria.
A nationalist revolt, sir. The Egyptian army has mutinied under one of their colonels, Arabi Pasha. I'm afraid we had no alternative. They are proposing to set up a military dictatorship.
Yes, of course. I told you we should have to use force in the end.
Yes, we are sending in the army. Under Garnet Wolseley.
Yes, splendid, splendid, splendid. I should like to go, you know.
Bertie.
Well, why not? All my friends are over there. I believe Charlie Beresford ran his gunboat in under their very noses at Alexandria.
I believe so, sir.
And Montague here's going?
With your Royal Highness's permission.
I mean, good God, I am a field marshal, you know. It's about time I saw some active service. Now, what do you say, will you?
I understand your desire to take part, sir, but I am afraid Her Majesty...
Oh, bother Her Majesty. I'm sorry, but we'll simply have to persuade Her Majesty. Come, you must help me. Excuse me, my dear. Come to my study. We must plan a campaign to get the Queen's permission. If Charlie B. can do it, so can I.
Lord Charles is something of a national hero, I believe.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
What is it, ma'am?
She'll never allow it. It's so hard for him, especially now that you're going.
I had to, ma'am.
Oh, I know. Oliver, you will be careful, won't you?
Yes, of course I will.
Don't go and take any unnecessary risks.
I promise.
It's all the fault of that dreadful man.
What dreadful man?
Bismarck. Do you know what he's supposed to have said?
No.
About Bertie? That his love of uniforms was matched only by his fear of gunpowder.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Oh, yes, you and I know that it's ridiculous. But it's that kind of remark that makes him so determined to go. He feels that he must prove himself.
Thank you.
Will there be anything else, ma'am?
No, no. You can wait outside. I'll call when I want you.
Very good, ma'am.
You had better sit down. You too, Mr. Gladstone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, Bertie?
I think you're aware, Mamma, of my reason for coming to see you.
I am.
Well, what can I say? I want to go to Egypt with the household cavalry.
Yes.
I've come to ask your permission.
Yes.
Well, Mamma?
It's quite impossible, of course. Out of the question.
But, Mamma, I hold the rank of Field Marshal,
No,
and it seems to...
Bertie, it will do no good. I appreciate your gallant desire to see active service. And I am proud that you should wish to share the dangers and privations of our troops. But I cannot allow it.
But why, Mamma? You've let Arthur go.
The Duke of Connaught is not the heir to the throne. And apart from that, he has had the proper training. You have not.
I should be prepared to go in any capacity, Mamma. Only let me go.
It would hardly be suitable, and I cannot think that you would wish to go merely as an observer.
Well, no, of course not.
And as heir to the throne, it is unthinkable that you should risk your life on active service. No, Bertie, what you ask is impossible. Bertie?
Yes, Mamma?
There is another reason.
What is it?
I am an old woman, Bertie. I find I tire very easily these days. You may be called upon at any moment.
Yes, Mamma.
He doesn't believe you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Gladstone. I could see that for myself. Oh, here, help me up, will you?
His Royal Highness is expecting you.
Lily, my dear. Come and sit down.
Thank you, Your Royal Highness. Good evening, Lord Carrington.
Mrs. Langtry.
Well, how did it go this evening?
Oh, very well, I think. We had a full house.
Congratulations, my dear Mrs. Langtry. It's obvious your play is a great success.
It's not the play, my dear fellow. It's Lily they come to see, eh, my dear?
Well, I don't know that Squire Bancroft would agree with you, sir.
Well, of course he would. Bancroft's no fool. Why do you think he took you on in the first place?
Anyway, if I am a success, it's all due to your patronage. I could never have done it without your help.
Thank you, my dear. Glad to have been of some use. I drink to the most beautiful actress on the London stage.
Here, here.
Ah, Dilk, come in.
Your Royal Highness. I don't think you know Mrs. Crawford.
Mrs. Crawford. A pleasure. This is Mrs. Langtry and Lord Carrington, you know.
Good evening, Mrs. Langtry. Lord Carrington.
Good evening. Come and sit down.
Thank you.
Good. Now we can eat. I'm starving.
From Oliver. They've had the most wonderful victory at Tel el-Kebir. The Egyptian army was totally annihilated. Is he all right? Hmm?
Is he all right, Mom?
Oh, yes, he came out of it without a scratch. Apparently, the Duke of Connaught distinguished himself.
Oh, good. His Royal Highness will be pleased.
Yes, I think he still rather resents not being allowed to go. He's been very depressed these last few weeks.
No, it's true, I promise you. We were staying at Dunroven, I think. And I overheard a certain lady telling a certain gentleman that she would leave a plate of biscuits outside her bedroom door if the coast was clear.
It was Henry Farringford, that's who it was. Go on, my dear.
Well, I simply removed the biscuits. My husband was feeling peckish, you understand.
Yes, yes.
And poor Lord Henry spent the rest of the night dodging between her bedroom and his, waiting for the signal.
Good for you, Mrs. Langtry. Serve the fellow right.
My sympathies are entirely with Lord Henry. You're a wicked creature, Lily.
I'm sure that Mrs. Langtry acted as she did on behalf of her husband. Mr. Langtry was hungry. The biscuits in the corridor. I'm right, aren't I, Mrs. Langtry?
Of course you are, Sir Charles. And now, if you'll forgive me, I really must go. It's late, and I have a matinee tomorrow.
Yes, of course, my dear. My carriage is outside. I shall be most happy to drop you. Good night, Mrs. Crawford. Gentlemen.
Good night.
Good night, Mrs. Langtry.
Good night, Lord Henry.
What is the difference between Madame Modjeska and Lily Langtry?
I've no idea. What is the difference between Madame Modjeska and Lily Langtry?
One is a pole, and the other a stick.
I don't understand.
Mrs. Langtry, my dear, is not a very good actress.
Oh, I see.
She's very good with His Royal Highness, so I've never known her fail when it comes to keeping him amused. And that isn't always easy, let me tell you.
She's beautiful.
Yes.
And she's accepted at Marlborough House. The Princess of Wales is quite fond of her.
Remarkable woman. Very remarkable woman.
Oh, listen to this, Mom. Mrs. Langtry is of too solid a physique for any light, skittish movement. Her laugh, not yet being under control, appears forced and painful, and her action is as constrained and mechanical as that of an Eton sixth form boy on speech day. Oh, how can they write such things?
Which paper was that, my dear?
A Punch, Ma'am. I've a good mind to write to Mr. Clement Scott and tell him what I think of him.
Mrs. Langtry, may I offer you a word of advice? In your new profession, you will receive attacks, personal and critical, just and unjust. Bear them. Never reply, and above all, never rush into print to explain yourself.
Oh, yes,
I'm sure
but...
the Prime Minister is right, Mrs. Langtry.
Oh, dear, yes, I suppose he is. But it is very hard, Ma'am.
I know, and in this case, most unjust. The Prince and I saw the play and enjoyed it very much, and I thought your performance excellent.
Well, thank you, Ma'am.
You must go to see it, Mr. Gladstone.
I hope to, ma'am, very soon. And if I see the gentleman from Punch, Mrs. Langtry, well, I'll punch him on the nose.
Thank you, dear Mr. Gladstone. I could not wish a more valiant champion.
Mr. Gladstone, there is something that we wanted to ask you.
Ma'am.
I hope you will not think it merely idle curiosity, but we are most anxious to know what exactly it is you do in your work among fallen women.
They are called prostitutes, ma'am.
Yes, I know.
Well, I do my best to rescue them. To redeem them, you might say.
Yes?
Well, I go out at night, usually with a small stick in case of attack. And I simply ask them if they will come home with me to my house, where my wife and I give them food and shelter and try to persuade them to give up their terrible profession.
And do they?
Sometimes. Not as often as I might wish. But if we can persuade only one of them, then it has been worthwhile.
I see.
It all sounds very splendid, but you must be careful, Prime Minister. Your motives are liable to be misunderstood, you know.
I dare say you're right, Mrs. Langtry, but if there is work to be done there, then I must do it. My reputation is in the hands of the Almighty.
A very proper place for it to be, Prime Minister. The answer's yes. I'm delighted to accept your offer.
What's this? Mr. Gladstone, you've been keeping something from me.
I thought you should tell them, sir.
Well, Bertie.
I've been asked to serve on the Royal Commission on the Housing of the Working Classes. Sir Charles here is to take the chair, and Lord Carrington has agreed to serve with me.
Bertie, that's splendid.
Yes, I'm very pleased.
There is great work to be done there, sir.
My warmest congratulations, Your Royal Highness.
Thank you, Lily.
Great honor to have you. Marvelous.
Thank you. I should like a cushion, John. Just there. That's better. Thank you.
Will there be anything more, ma'am?
No, thank you. You may bring my shawl, Beatrice. Thank you, dear. Ah, Alex.
Mamma. Darling Mamma, are you feeling better?
Oh, a little dear. So silly falling downstairs like that.
I know, Bertie told me.
Fortunately, I have my good John Brown to look after me, though he's not well, you know.
Oh, dear, it's nothing serious, is it?
He caught a chill on Tuesday night, searching the grounds for a prowler.
Oh?
One of those wretched Fenians. Of course, they never found him, but my poor John refused to give up until it was quite light.
Poor Mr. Brown.
It is a nuisance, particularly now, when, as you see, I am most in need of his services. You have brought the boys to see me. Come and give your poor old grandmother a kiss. George.
Hello, Grandmama.
Dear. You look so fine and grown up in your uniform. Both of you. So grown up. Have you finished your training, dear? What was the name of that ship?
The Bacchante, Grandmama.
Yes, that's right. And what will you do now?
I am to stay in the Navy.
And Eddie?
He is to go to Cambridge.
Oh, Cambridge. Will you like that, Eddie, dear?
I should think so.
And Bertie is to head this working class housing commission.
Yes, Mamma.
With that dreadful Sir Charles Dilke, who is little better than a Republican. The whole enterprise seems to have acquired an undesirably frivolous tone before it's even begun. Well, I suppose they know what they're doing.
I won't be just a figurehead, Charles. I intend to take part, you know, go to all the meetings.
Yes, of course, sir.
I mean, I may not know very much about it, but the fact that I'm on the thing will help, won't it?
Oh, indeed, sir.
We must succeed, you see. And now you're an MP. You must do what you can in the House.
Yes, sir. May I make a suggestion, sir?
Of course, what is it?
A chance for you to see for yourself, sir. I think I could arrange for us to see some of the worst areas. Clerkenwell and Pancras. We'd have to go in disguise, of course.
Charles, you're a genius. It's a wonderful idea. Arrange it at once, will you?
We have managed to move a certain number of families already, sir.
Yes.
Oh, I shouldn't, sir.
That's it, Charles. Couldn't we?
Sir, I beg you not to. Word would get round. We'd be torn to pieces before we got out of the area.
I had no idea. No idea.
Would your Royal Highness like to visit another area? I can offer, sir...
No. No, let's go home. I feel convinced also that your lordships, in common with all classes of Her Majesty's subjects, will be gratified to learn that the noble Marquis has asked for a searching inquiry into this great and momentous question with regard to the housing and the amelioration of the dwellings of the poor and of the working classes. And that Her Majesty's government has issued a royal commission for the purpose. The subject of the housing of the poor is not entirely unknown to me, as having acquired a property in Norfolk now 21 years ago, I have been much occupied in building fresh dwellings for the poor and for the working classes. On arriving there, I found some of the dwellings in a most deplorable condition, but I hope that there is now hardly one person on the estate who can complain of not being adequately housed. In conclusion, my lords, I cherish the earnest hope, which I am sure will be shared by your lordships, that the inquiries of this Royal Commission will result in its being able to recommend to Parliament measures of a drastic and thorough character, which shall be the means not only of improving the dwellings of the poor, but of ameliorating their condition generally.
I don't know how I shall bear it, Alex. He was everything to me, you see. I had come to depend on him completely. And to be taken from me now, when I need him most. It's very cruel.
Poor Mama. Poor Mr. Brown.
And we all thought it was no more than a chill.
Don't, Mama, please don't. You must try to get over it.
No. No, I shall never get over it. My best and truest friend. Oh, I know none of you ever liked him.
That's not true, Mama.
Bertie used to pretend he wasn't there half the time.
He was very sad to hear of his death. We all were.
I dare say.
He had hoped to come with me to see you, but this commission still takes so much of his time. He made a most splendid speech in the House of Lords on Friday, Mama. Everyone is saying how well he spoke. You would have been proud of him.
Should I? Oh, Lord Tennyson called to pay his condolences. He is to write the inscription for a statue I am having done of John for Balmoral. Just something simple, you know. And I was thinking of asking Sir Theodore Martin to write his biography. I do not want people to forget him, you see.
No, Mama. I'm sure no one will do that.
I am afraid, sir, that what you suggest is quite impossible. There is no provision in the Constitution.
Well, in heaven's name, why? I've served on the commission, signed the report, spoken in the House. It seems to me incredible that I cannot now rally support by letting it be known that I intend to vote in favour of the bill.
I'm afraid, sir, that is the
But it'll be thrown out, my dear Dilk. Their lordships will reject it. You know they will. Are you prepared to stand by and see your reform bill defeated when a word from me might just...
We have no alternative, sir. The Crown must remain above politics. The constitutional position...
Oh, damn the constitutional position and damn the bill! Am I never to have a proper part to play, never to be allowed to finish what I've begun? I'm sorry, gentlemen, but it really is enough to try the patience of a saint.
Oh, believe me, sir, I understand how you feel. But we are all prisoners, in one way and another, prisoners of the Constitution.
Yes, that's good. But tell me, Mr. Gladstone, don't you ever feel like breaking out of prison occasionally?
I do, sir. Often.
So do I. So do I.
I'm afraid I can't think of any more funny stories.
I'm sorry, my dear. I'm not much company tonight. They won't let me rule or fight or work. I can't even vote.
Oh, dear. What will they let you do?
Look at him, just look at him.
Who, my dear?
Bismarck. It's quite impossible to feel happy when he is present.
Willie seems to be enjoying himself.
Yes. I hardly ever see him now, you know. Oh, it's not his wife's fault. She's a sweet creature. Started long before they got married. It's all Bismarck's doing. I must find Fritz. Come. Fritz, darling, are you all right?
Yes, my dear, perfectly.
Sitting here all alone?
Ik war nur ein wenig müde, sonst nichts.
Oh, is your throat still bad?
No, it's nothing. Come, let us go back to the ballroom.
Fritz, darling, you're not well.
Don't fuss, Vicky. It'll pass. I felt giddy for a moment, that's all.
Has he seen a doctor?
Oh, hundreds of them, Bertie. I have seen enough doctors to last me a lifetime. They don't tell you anything.
I'd like you to see an English doctor.
Well, thank you, my dear fellow. I don't suppose one more will make any difference.
You don't think...
What, my darling?
I just thought it might cause ill feeling. You know what they say.
That I am under the thumb of my English wife? Yes, I know that's what they say. But we agreed long ago we wouldn't pay any attention to that kind of nonsense,
Yes,
didn't we?
darling, I'm sorry.
I'll see your English doctor, Bertie. And thank you for suggesting it. And now, how is the party going? Is young Eddie enjoying himself?
Yes, very much. I think he's dancing with Dona.
And Vicky?
With Sandro.
Oh, dear. That'll cause trouble. Weren't we supposed to keep them apart?
Are you certain?
Good evening, Herr Chancellor.
I have to tell you, ma'am, that your daughter, the Princess Victoria, is at this very moment dancing with Prince Alexander of Bulgaria.
Yes, so I understand. They make a handsome couple, don't you think?
Very possibly, ma'am. I think you know, however, it is the Emperor's express wish they be kept apart.
My daughter is quite old enough to choose her own dancing partners. I should not consider it right to dictate to her in this matter.
Aren't we making too much of this, my dear Chancellor?
An alliance between the Princess and Prince Alexander is out of the question. I am aware that it is looked upon with favor in certain quarters, but it cannot and will not take place. I hope I have made myself clear.
Perfectly, Herr Chancellor.
In certain quarters, indeed. I think the old devil meant me.
He knows Mamma was very taken with Sandra.
He's a stiff man.
Oh, I hate him. He has spoiled everything that I have tried to do, and now he is trying to turn Willie against me, my own son. Oh, I hate him, I hate him, I hate him. But you do not understand, Bertie. Bismarck has actually accused me of working against Germany. Oh, it is so unfair.
Yes, I know, Vicky.
And he is so suspicious. When I write to Mamma, he thinks I am plotting with her to bring down the government here.
You must be patient, my dear. The present Kaiser's an old man. Soon now it'll be Fritz's turn, and then Bismarck won't seem so powerful.
And this ridiculous attitude to Sandro and Vicky, just because Sandro has quarreled with the Tsar. They are afraid of offending the Russians, you see. That is why Bismarck is so against their engagement.
My darling sister, calm yourself. You've only to wait and all things will come to you. When Fritz becomes emperor...
But he is ill, Bertie. Oh, I know he says it is nothing, but he is very ill. I know it. I feel it.
But he'll recover. He's not an old man. And then the three of us can work together to create a lasting friendship between our two countries. That was Papa's dream, you know. And it's been mine, too. Oh, hello, Willie.
Uncle Betty.
Willie.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mamma, but I thought you might like to know that the Emperor has forbidden my sister ever to see Prince Alexander again.
Willie, dear.
I think you know why.
It seems so hard on young Vicky, don't you think?
My grandfather feels...
You mean Bismarck feels...
My grandfather feels that such an alliance would cause a breach with Russia and throw her into the arms of France.
My dear Willie.
Yes, Uncle Bertie.
Isn't that a bit naive?
I'm sure in England you have your own reasons for advancing the marriage. But in Germany...
Oh, Willie, stop talking like a fool. Surely, whatever the Chancellor's policy, we can discuss this sensibly as a family matter.
I don't think there's anything to discuss. Now, if you will excuse me.
Oh, very well. Have it your own way. But, Willie...
Yes, Uncle Bertie.
I don't see how we can very well continue with your planned visit to London for the Jubilee, dear boy.
But I was...
Well, I don't suppose the Queen, in the circumstances, would be very pleased to see you. You know, I think that she very much approves of this marriage.
What are you laughing at?
Dear poor Willie. You see how very much he wants to come to England. Now, don't you worry, Vicky, my dear. This'll all sort itself out, and very satisfactorily, too, I promise you.
But, my dear Prince, the cancellation of your visit is a weapon. Use it. And if your mother reproaches you for turning against your English relatives, your attitude is justified now by their behavior. Use your defeats, and they become victories.
I'm determined to show Uncle Bertie that I'm no longer a child.
He'll learn that soon enough. Your father is ill, too ill perhaps to succeed. It is not impossible that the Emperor might come to regard you as his natural heir, and in the interests of the country, your father might feel he ought to stand down in your favor.
Have you spoken to them?
To your parents? No, it's not yet time, but it will come, it will come.
When?
Do not be impatient, my prince. Time is on your side. Learn to smile and wait for the moment. And above all, prepare yourself so that when that moment comes, you may be ready. Your grandfather has great faith in you. He is sending you and not the father.
I think it all went off very well. Before I sat down, I was able to get a good look at the congregation. So many kings and princes. I didn't notice Mr. Gladstone. I understand he was there.
It was a beautiful service, Mamma.
And all those people who turned out to cheer us as we drove to the Abbey. I hadn't expected such crowds. It was most gratifying.
They're pleased to have an opportunity to show their affection for you, Mamma.
Thank you, Bertie. I must say you have managed it all splendidly. Apart from that dreadful garden party.
That was only the heat, Mamma.
Oh, I dare say. I spent most of my time hiding behind the Duke of Cambridge in order to avoid you-know-whom.
I thought Mr. G was out of office now, Mamma.
Oh, he is. But you see, my dear, he will keep turning up. Willie, dear, would you open a window? We don't want it to get stuffy with so many people all breathing the same air.
Of course, Grandmama.
He is behaving beautifully. I cannot think why you were all so worried. Of course. Louise, don't fidget. Alex, I think the children could run along now. Willie, you go with them. I dare say you would prefer to be with the young ones.
Mamma, shh. Can we play Skittles?
I don't see why not, darling. Run along, Willie.
I shall only consent to go if you will come with me, Aunt Alex. If I am to be considered one of the children, then my beautiful aunt, who looks as young as any of us, must qualify as well.
Thank you, Willie. Of course I shall come.
Capital. We can set up the Skittles in the corridor.
Fritz, help me out. Oh, if it's to be Skittles, I don't see why I shouldn't try my hand. Do you know, I used to play a similar sort of game up and down the corridors of Kensington Palace when I was quite a little girl.
She's in wonderful spirits.
Yes, and I think quite surprised by all the fuss.
50 years.
There was a banner this morning in Whitehall. It read, "Good Sovereign, no change required."
Your turn will come, Bertie.
I wonder, sometimes I think she'll go on forever. But I'm in no hurry. I think you and Fritz will be called very soon, though.
Yes. Do you think he looks any better?
Oh, much. Oh, Vicky, I can see such great times for us all ahead. And look how splendidly Willie's behaving. Didn't I tell you he'd come round?
Yes.
Well, then you see how foolish you were to worry.
He certainly seems happier, more stable. But I'm not sure of him, Bertie. I'm still not sure.
Well, what can I say? You're now acclaimed, a success. And not only here, but in America. You don't need me anymore.
Oh, but I do. You've been everything to me. I owe my entire career to your patronage. You know that.
Well, if I've been able to help a little, it's no more than your talent and your beauty deserve. But you can manage on your own now.
Well...
Of course you can. Your reception tonight proved that beyond doubt.
Oh, the Lady of Lions is always popular. But I think Pauline is a particularly good part for me, don't you? She has such feeling. You know that moment at the end of Act 4 when Melnot leaves her, What are you laughing at?
Oh, suddenly, my dear, you sound like a real actress. Will you take the play to America?
Yes, I think so. Oh, my darling, whatever shall I do without you?
Managed very well, I dare say. But we shall always be friends, I think.
Oh, yes. Yes, please. I couldn't bear it if I thought I should never see you again.
Well, shall we say, I'm there if you need me.
You're too good to me, my dear. You've always been too good to me.
Oh, there. There's no need for tears.
I'm sorry.
Come, I'll take you home.
No, please, I'd rather not. I have my carriage, and it can take me perfectly well. You stay here.
Oh, but
No, I'd prefer it like this. Please.
Shall I see you before you go to America?
Of course.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, my dearest.
In the Times this morning, such a nice piece. Did you read it, Bertie?
Yes, Mamma.
I particularly liked the bit about the family. How did it go, Beatrice?
Shall I read it, Mamma?
Yes, dear, if you wouldn't mind. I underlined the passage when I was reading it this morning.
Thank you, Georgie. On the occasion of his silver wedding, His Royal Highness is to be congratulated for all his charitable, educational, industrial, artistic, and scientific endeavors, and most of all, for his services to what may be called the religion of the family throughout England.
Such a sensible publication. Where is your mother? It must be nearly time we went into dinner.
Oh, she'll be down in a moment, Mamma. She stayed late receiving presents. There have been so many. People have been wonderfully kind.
You have been married just half as long as I have reigned, Bertie.
Yes, Mamma.
Ah, Alice.
Mama. I'm so happy you were able to come. And that beautiful silver cup, thank you so much.
You know what it is, don't you? It's a loving cup.
Thank you, Mama. It's very beautiful. See what my Bertie has given to me. Isn't it lovely?
Very nice.
Well, I think we might go in now, if you're quite ready, my darling.
Of course. I haven't kept you waiting, have I?
No, no, of course not. Mamma?
Thank you, Bertie. But I think your duty lies elsewhere tonight. Eddie shall take me in. Come along, young man. You're not too proud to take your old grandmother into dinner, are you?
Of course not, Grandmamma. I'm delighted to have the honor.
And Georgie shall escort his Aunt Beatrice.
You're looking very lovely tonight, my dear.
Thank you.
I like the orange blossom in your hair. It suits you.
I asked them to put a whole orange into the spray. Do you see it?
Yes.
It's to show I'm no longer a bud, but the fully ripened fruit. Come, we are keeping Mama waiting.
Your father looks very happy tonight.
That is because the old Kaiser has died, and Uncle Fritz and Aunt Vicky are Emperor and Empress of Germany. Papa says he's been waiting for that to happen for years and years.
It came this morning from Vicky. Cancer. Poor Fritz. He'd been emperor for only 99 days.
Try to bear up, my dear. If it's any comfort, I'm certain that short as his reign was, his name will not be forgotten.
He had such plans, such dreams we both had. Now all that will be lost.
No, no, Willie'll carry on the work.
You know that isn't true. Willie is not on our side. He is completely under the influence of that monster Bismarck. He said I am to blame for Fritz's death.
Oh, no.
That if I hadn't insisted on an English doctor, his life could have been saved.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
I know. Oh, Bertie, what am I to do? He is behaving so strangely. Friedrichshof has been surrounded by soldiers. I'm virtually a prisoner in my own house.
Try to keep calm, Vicky.
And he speaks so cruelly of his father. Oh, I cannot. Oh, God, help me. I cannot bear it.
Vicky, dearest.
He's just a boy. At present, he's trying his wings. You must give him time, my dear, time to settle down, to get used to his position.
But I am frightened of him. Yes, it's true. I'm frightened of my own son.
Your Majesty.
Grandmamma.